Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel, Handmade by Hannah. I am Hannah. Today is Tuesday that I am filming, and you will hopefully be seeing this on Wednesday, February 1st. So happy February, welcome to the month of love. January was a pretty productive month for me. I didn't think it was until I took a look at my list of things that the makes that I have made this month, and filled up a page of my journal. So pretty happy about that. I do have one more project that I'm going to be working on finishing up today, hopefully, to sneak in under the wire, so to speak, for January. But then February will be a few things that I have on tap. One of the big things that I'm going to be working on is a quilt that I'm getting ready for the auction coming up in about a week and a half. And yes, I might be cutting myself a little short on the time there, but I've done projects like that before, and stressed out about it a little bit, but it got done and everybody was happy with the results, including myself. So I am very sorry that I did not get a video out last weekend. I finished the super secret project. The big wedding dress that I have been working on for a few months now is all done. It is all fitted, it's all finished up, all the seams are done, and so it is back in the hands of the mother of the bride, because the bride herself does not have room in her house right now, and she has 4 kids who are also kind of everywhere. So you will be seeing pictures and video of the dress in action, hopefully the day after, if not a couple of days after. The week after the 18th is really when I'm planning on doing that. The 18th is the wedding, so I will be able to get video and more pictures of her in the dress so that you can see like the full effect, because having it draped on a hanger or over the table or something like that really just doesn't do it justice. It really has to be on the person, and I just don't have a mannequin to be able to really do stuff like that yet. That's kind of on my wish list for this year if things progress the way that I'm hoping to. But with that being said, I also am looking into doing, I think, more wedding dresses, at least doing some design work and learning more about the couture designing and elements that go into dresses like that. So stay tuned for more of that. Today, I'm going to show you my favorite tools though. So there are a few of them. There's 3 different stations that I'm going to be taking you to. First of all is at my sewing station, and of course my serger and my sewing machine are 2 of the major tools that I use on a very consistent basis. Of course I can't, well, I can if I use my hands, but I can't sew like I want to without these 2 things. So let's take you into my favorite tools. Okay, so my favorite tools. We're going to start here at my sewing station, and we're going to start with, so I have several sections here. So I have marking tools, measuring tools, of course pinning and clipping, and then hand sewing and scissors. So with the marking tools, I don't normally use the pencil all that much. The pencil is there because I use it for writing notes, for doing changes on patterns, things like that. Then of course it wouldn't be anywhere without our trusty seam ripper. Some people call theirs Jack. I haven't really named him. I don't name my stuff. But this guy is really great because it's got a good handle to it, and this stuff is rubbery. It's a rubber, so that you actually, I guess the idea was so that you could actually like rub it along the seam line after you've ripped it and get all those little things up. I haven't found it to be very useful for that. What I have found it useful for is when I have it on there and I have my other hand holding things, I can put it in there, cap it, and put it off to the side and not have to worry about it. Measuring tools, of course, my hem measure. This is very handy, slides back and forth. If you don't already have one, I highly recommend getting one. Of course, a measuring tape. And with these, you do want to make sure that you verify every now and again that it is accurate. Yeah, that guy is still accurate, because these kinds can actually stretch out because they're a material. And then my marking tools. I recently was told about friction pens. Well, maybe not that recently ago. But these are great, especially, so I use the darker colors for light fabrics because they show up really good on there. On dark fabrics, they do tend to leave a white mark behind when you iron them because, of course, they do disappear with iron, which is really, really nice. That's what you want, is something that's not permanent, unless you do want permanent, in which case you use something else. But it's a click top up here and works really good, right smoothly. Then I recently found this guy. Now, I have been struggling for years using chalk pencils and never getting one that really worked good at all. I was looking on Amazon and I saw this. It was very highly rated and I had seen someone else using something similar. So I was like, I really want one of those. I got this. This thing is amazing. It writes on almost every type of fabric that I have tried it on. And it writes smoothly. I have not had any issues. And I can see the mark very clearly with just one pass. I don't have to kind of keep going over it and try to rub up the fabric trying to get stuff on it. So Bohine, it's a French company, and it came with a nice little refill pack too. Then of course you've got clips. I really, really like these clips. They make life very easy for me. My fingers don't do well with small things, so pins aren't really my friend super much. But for doing long seams and stuff like that, and even hems, those work really great. And they come in nice, pretty colors. So to make life interesting, I try to, vary up the pattern on when I'm clipping like a long seam or something like that. Make a little pattern with the colors. I don't know. Am I the only one that's weird like that? Then my silk pins. These are Clover branded. And these are super sharp and pointy, and they go through almost any material. Now, the nice thing with the silk pins is because they do have a very fine point, they will go through your silk and other fine fabrics and not mark them. They do slide in and out very easily, and while the head is small, I find that I can still pick it up fairly easily. Like I said, I still have slight issues with, I've got big fingers, so they tend to not like small things that much, but these seem to work really well. My Kai scissors are my pride and joy when I'm sewing. I actually need to get them both sharpened because they're getting to I've been using them so much, especially these guys. My little embroidery snips, they work really, really good, really small, can get into small places. And I find that these two and my paper scissors are really the only scissors that I need. And then these are my dressmaker shears. I believe these are a 10-inch ones. You can see the number on there. These just cut, they cut amazingly. And while they're on the heavier side, I find that they are balanced enough. They are good enough balanced that I do not get fatigue even after a few hours of cutting pretty continuously. They have a good grip. They work in my left hand just fine. And I've heard that they're ambidextrous, so they can go either way, which is really, really nice. Now for hand sewing, which I actually do quite a bit of, these I have found. So we'll start with the thimble. The thimble pads, they work really, really well. You just put them on the tip of the finger, which for me, I usually use, I'm left-handed. So I use my left hand when I'm primarily sewing by hand. And I just put it right on the tip of my finger right there because that is the one that I normally use to push the needle. They are pretty sticky, so they can come on, but it's a good adhesive that can come on and off your finger fairly easily. But won't move around much when you're actually when it's on your finger and you're actively sewing. So that works really good. And then for hand sewing, I do prefer these, what they're called in-betweeners. And I got these from a sewing friend. She was not doing much hand sewing anymore, and she preferred bigger needles. And I really like these. These are well made. They're nice and even. And I have not had any issues with them. In fact, I use them pretty frequently to the point that I've had to throw a couple away because they got bent because I use them so much and so frequently. So now we're going to move on to another station. Okay, so we are over here at my ironing board. And of course, the ironing board is a really big tool in a lot of people's sewing rooms because when you sew a seam, you should press the seam. This is my pride and joy over here. This is my ham, my tailor's ham. And this is actually from the 60s, as you can probably tell by the colors and the design of the fabric. This is twice as big as the hams that you get these days, and I absolutely love it. Lori, if you're watching this, you are amazing for finding that for me, and thank you so much. Then, of course, next to it is my clapper, and that is for using for pressing seams after they have been ironed, to not only get the crease in there, but also to help pound down some of the thicker ones. Wool ironing mat is your best friend, especially if you are a quilter. If you don't have one of these, I highly suggest you invest in one. So this is one of the bigger, this is one of the medium ones. So it's about 3/4 of an inch thick, and it is 100% felted wool. And I believe this one is like 12 by 17. Rowenta iron. I heard about Rowenta back when I was early years of my knitting. These are amazing. They steam, and without having to have like the big full-on industrial ones with it, that, you know, you get the water in the top and they come down, all the steam machines and everything. But this has a lot of steam, and you can see it's got a ton of holes. Please ignore the other stuff on there. I'm not super great about watching where I'm ironing as far as interfacing goes. So they fill up really nicely. It's got a really good capacity there. And this is actually my second one. My first one actually fell and broke. And that was partly my fault. I accidentally knocked it off. But while they're on the pricey side, I have not had any issues with either of the ones that I've had. Now, of course, you wouldn't be a good pressing station without a sleeve presser. And this is I just got this at Joann's, and does have, you know, some of the shaping stuff that you need in something like this. Now, I would prefer a slightly different one, but for now, this works really good, and it does fold down flat for easy storage. So now we're going to move on to my cutting table. Okay, over at my cutting table, my big, huge cutting mat is, I love this thing. I've had it for a couple of years now, and it is amazing. I love it. I actually got it at Hobby Lobby, and it works better than the ones, the OmniGrid ones that I've gotten before. Anyway, all of my rulers and stuff are kind of over in this area. I've got a couple of OmniGrid ones. This is a 9.5 inch one and a 3.5 inch one. But then I also really like my Creative Grids. 8.5 inch wide, 24 inch long one. Because of course Creative Grids has the scrubby parts underneath that really help it hold to fabric, which is really nice. So one of the things that I have made just for some hand sewing, and especially for that quilting, is my needle pusher and puller. I actually just glued a piece of leather in half, and it helps to kind of push down on the needle to get it through. And then actually, if you slide it into one of these ends here, you can actually get a good grip in there and pull it out. And that's a homemade thing. That was just something, you know, necessity is the mother of many invention. I just recently got these. This is the expandable buttonhole measurement, and I love it. It is awesome. And along with that, I also got the cutter for the buttonholes, and so super great. And of course, rotary cutter. I have 3 of those in differing. This is a 60 millimeter. And I have a 45 and a 28, and they're all useful for various cutting and everything. Now, these guys right here, I use them almost all the time for any project that has a tube of any kind. This is my tube turner. A friend got this for me a little over a year ago, last Christmas, not 22, so Christmas of 21, and she had picked it up at one of those tool stores, and it's really great. It's kind of like a hemostat because it's got a locking handle, so you can see here, got different things, and it locks in place so that you don't have to worry about it coming undone. And then you get it up in where your tube and everything, make sure this is gripping what it needs to, and then you pull it through. And if you can get yourselves one of those, they are really, really amazing. They make tube turning a snap. Now, of course, there is a certain width that you cannot get that in because, of course, this part won't do that. But for all intents and purposes, especially for belts and stuff like that, this works really, really good. So that is the extent of the tools in my sewing room that I really, really like. One thing of note, actually, I forgot to put these in here. These are what I use for my pattern weights. And I got them for 50 cents each at Lowe's. You put, 10 works really good for a skirt, a skirt pattern piece, a bodice top, sleeve, anything you name it. I got 20 of them, and they work really good. And especially if I have some slippery fabric that's kind of wanting to go off the edge of my cutting table here, I just kind of pop a couple of those on the edge, and it keeps it from sliding off. So they are really, really great. So if you're looking to start getting more tools, I hope this is a good place for you to start and kind of know some of the key ones in a sewist's bag of tricks. All right. So I hope you got some really good information if you are just starting out as a sewist, as far as tools that are really good to have in your basket of tricks. If you have any questions about any of these, please let me know. I'll link some of the ones that I know where they are available at down below in the description box. But for the most part, I've kind of just acquired them over the years, and some of them, of course, pencils you can get anywhere. But some of the other ones are very specific and specialized. So I am hoping to have another video out on Friday or Saturday of this week, kind of detailing, kind of catching you up on what I've been working on. Of course, I can't show you anything of the super secret project, but like I said, that'll be coming up later. Something that I actually just realized as I was setting up my camera is that where I have the camera, right, what you're looking at and everything, is actually a really good place for me to put my phone. Well, I'm using my phone, but to put my phone up for when I'm looking at a pattern instructions, because it is a perfect level for my eyes, and I don't have to keep moving my phone around where I'm working with my fabric and all of that and everything. So, and I can very easily reach up and touch it. So anyway, just one of those things. Anyway, I hope you have a great day and a fabulous rest of your week, and hope to see you here again. Thanks again for watching. Bye, everyone. Take care.